students. Welcome back to the PMP course outline. Before we start, I'll quickly go through a quick recap. We have understood about the updates in the latest exam so far. We have covered the prerequisites required for the PMP. We learned about how to prepare the application. And finally, we have ended the presentation with a few generic tips that are useful for the exam. We will be going through the official document that is released from the PMI for the latest exam. This is nothing but the portion, or as some people call it, the syllabus for this latest PMP exam. So, for those who are hearing about the PMP exam content outline for the first time, this is nothing but a document which is released by the PMI in its official website for each of its exam. So, for CAPM, there is a separate exam content outline. So, for PMP also, there is a separate document, and it is released every year. So, for this 2022, there is one exam content outline released as the latest version. So what is mentioned in this document is an overview about the latest exam processes, updated versions of the exam pattern, and basically the complete syllabus that we need to look at for preparing the PMP. This session is going to be the complete overview of the syllabus. The most famous books so far for PMI for preparing the PMP was PMBOK Guide 6th edition, which is very nicely presented, and as you all know, it's a huge document, around 950, 960 pages. But there is a worry amongst students as the 7th edition was released lately. So they are worried that the content in the 7th edition is slightly different from 6th edition. As a matter of fact, it's not. The 7th edition of PMBOK Guide is not making the 6th edition as obsolete document. So in fact, if we do not go through the 6th edition, the chances are that we may not understand what is mentioned in the 7th edition. So why is this information important here at this stage? The exam content outline in latest version of 2022 that is provided by the PMBOK Guide, by the PMI, it's actually replicating the contents of PMBOK Guide 7th edition, right? So it follows its style of arranging the content in that fashion. So as we go through the domains overview, we will have much clarity about why I'm linking everything to 6th edition of PMBOK Guide. So today's topics are divided into 4 sections. First, in section 1, we understand the document, the exam content outline from PMI. And then we will start with the briefing of all 3 domains. The domain 1, as you already know by now, it's going to cover the people topic. Domain 2 is going to cover the process topic. And finally, the domain 3 talks about business environment. At the end of this session, you will have a very nice understanding of the complete PMP syllabus. And with this, you can plan your preparation to the PMP accordingly. So let's get started. The exam content outline. So what do we have here? The PMI says its content about this question of PMP, how these questions are divided is as shown here in this image, right? So what does it say? People, you get 42% of questions. Process, you get 50% of the questions, and business environment, you get 8% of the questions. So, and if you focus on the important note that is mentioned in the bottom, what does it say? It says about half of the examination will represent predictive project management approaches. It means the traditional waterfall methods, right? This is what I was referring to when I said PMBOK 6th guide. So it will be your Bible here. And it continues, it says, and the other half will represent the agile or hybrid approaches. Here comes the 7th edition of PMBOK Guide. So it throws some light in this area. So students, make sure you cover both these guides. They act as your textbooks for this exam. So they started editing the agile methods and hybrid methods because of its growing popularity in many organizations. The agile method mainly focuses on getting the feedback continuously from the stakeholders and then improving the process and then implementing them. It doesn't mean that they don't follow the traditional methodology. The traditional methodology is still followed, but with an added retrospection. This retrospective nature of this agile process is also attracting many OEMs nowadays. Anyways, so in the latest exam, we will be assessed if we can perform 35 different tasks from these 3 domains, right? So we have 3 domains and total of 35 tasks. Each one of these tasks are further divided into enablers. We will learn about what these enablers are in the slides to come. Moving on, Here we can see the PMI explaining what the domains and tasks and what enablers actually mean. Domains are designated as high-level knowledge areas. In PMBOK Guide 6, we have 10 knowledge areas. So they have divided or they have boiled down these 10 knowledge areas to just 3 now. The content is still the same, so no deletion has happened. It's just the grouping that has changed. The tasks are defined as the responsibilities within each domain. So the domain 1, it has 14 tasks. The domain 2 will have 17 tasks, and the domain 3 will have 4 tasks. So 35 tasks in total. Finally, the enablers, they can be considered as subtasks, or as PMI explained, the work associated with each task. They are enablers. So for every one task, you'll have enablers like this. They have given an example. For managing conflict, we have 3 enablers. So for each task, how many enablers are there? I've just given a quick summary here. As you can see, for people domain, we have total of 14 tasks and 53 enablers. And for the process, we have 17 tasks and 61 enablers. And for business environment, we have 4 tasks and 19 enablers. Right? So you don't have to get these enablers by heart, but it's better that you focus on the tasks. So the 14 tasks, 17 tasks, 4 tasks. So the total 35 tasks are important to us. There are when you total this 53, 61, and 19, we get around 133 enablers. So these tasks and their associated enablers, they are not arranged in a particular flow. They don't follow. If you recollect the process table from the PMBOK Guide 6th edition, they are all arranged in an orderly action in PMBOK Guide 6th edition. But here, it's not the case. In 6th guide, we can just identify by looking at the process what stage of the project that it could belong to. But in this latest edition, it's not like that. I found a few videos on the internet which arranges this task in order to follow the project lifecycle as per 6th edition. Like what phase of the stage or what phase of the project has which task, something like this. But if you ask me, I feel that it's really not important. I feel PMI has intentionally provided the tasks in a random fashion, to strengthen this idea about being agile. I'll be taking you through each domain in the same order that PMI wants us to learn. So stick with the course. Moving on is the exam content outline. What we have here is the little note about retaking the exam. The PMI says here that you can take the exam for up to 3 times. It means the first attempt plus 2 retake exams. So God forbid, if you do not secure the pass tag even after the 3rd attempt. So you will have to make sure that you have a gap of 1 year to apply for the 4th time. So, and the exam fee for the retake is going to be as shown on the screen here. Again, these values are taken on 1st of May 2022. They are subject to change due to some factors that are unimportant for this. So I hope the exam content outline is very clear to us. Let us quickly jump into the domains.